Today's question comes from Dan. Is sex supposed to be uncomfortable? This is a very good technical question, but also a question that can determine a lot of things for the betterment of your relationship. Sex is something that was created, built in everybody's human body. You came, and as you were formed in the womb of your mother, all of the parts that were needed for sexuality were being knit and added and connected, all the cables, all of the pieces, all of the parts, so that the functioning would be up to the best standards. That's how it was created, and that's how it was designed. Obviously, there are malfunctioning things, just like we were created with amazing speech, and again, all of those elements were being added as we were being formed in the womb of our mothers. But some people may experience either delayed speech or trouble with their speech and need some adjustments. So in the case of painful sexual intercourse itself, when you experience that pain, be it that the female is experiencing, but listen, a male asked this question, and I am not sure if he's asking because his wife is telling him that she's experiencing pain, or because he himself is experiencing that pain. Let me clarify that both male and female can experience painful intercourse, can experience discomfort in the sexual act. So it is not normal for either one of you to experience that discomfort. The only mild discomfort that could be expected for you to experience is if this is your first time, if as a female this is your first time and you are very small, you have a very narrow opening in your vagina, and there's not adequate preparation, or there's a lack of lubrication, or there's a little bit of a rough, maybe a little bit aggressive push through, and you may experience discomfort then. It's not something that should be repeating itself. Hopefully, if there's people that are listening and you have not experienced an intercourse act, you can take this into account to prevent painful situations. Or if you have a daughter or you have a sister, so that you can pass the voice, so you can communicate factual, good information about first-time experiences. A male can also experience the first time a discomfort or a painful situation, especially if they are not circumcised. And I know that that may sound a little weird to some people, because in some cultures, like in the American culture, it is very typical to have little baby boys, when they are born, circumcised. Typically, they will not even leave the hospital before they are circumcised. That's kind of like as easy and simple as is done these days. But there are other cultures, Latin American countries, for example, where it is a choice, and maybe the preference is more not to circumcise than to circumcise. And in that case, because that foreskin has not been removed and is in a state of virginity, and if it's not retracted enough, it can create discomfort or a more difficult first experience. Now, one of the ways to avoid that, if you have not been circumcised, or if your child hasn't been circumcised and you don't want to have them go through that now, is to help them, and this actually is some of the instructions that the doctor will give you to maintain hygiene. It is to always retract that skin, to regularly retract it when you're showering, where you're bathing in the appropriate setting for cleaning, and to clean well around that edge where the skin go as far as it can. That is gonna exercise that, not only the muscle, but a little bit of the retraction, the flexibility of the skin, so it's not so sensitive in a first time experience. Obviously, if this is something that is recurring, in both cases of first timers, you need to see a specialist. You need to see your gynecologist, your urologist. You need to see the doctor so that they can investigate what is happening and if, in fact, either a minor surgery needs to be performed on the female, or if the male needs to be circumcised so that he doesn't run into that problem. Sometimes there's so much skin that it gets in the way and it makes things a little bit more challenging. In cases where it's not the first timers, but we're experiencing pain, some of the questions are, did you experience pain at some point before? Are you experiencing pain with this particular partner? Is the pain something that, or the discomfort that you can tolerate, or that it feels that it's worsening and you're at the edge of not being able to handle? All of these things give a clinician, give a sex therapist an idea of where the problem could be coming from. The problem could stem from psychological issues. If you were able to have intercourse with another partner without feeling any pain or discomfort, but with this particular partner, there are some rough issues on the relationship. There are trust issues with the relationship. One of the ways in which your body could be saying to you, there's some things we need to work on, red flag, by producing pain. Our brain is an intricate, amazing organ. And sometimes there are things we do not want to face that the brain says, you've got to. So it finds a way of crashing, of breaking, of disrupting, so that you have to address those issues. Now, it does not mean that if you had not painful sex before and you do with this partner, that is always the causation that there's issues with your partner. It could be that you're in a different season of life, like menopause for women, or like for men developing some curving in their penis. There's different terms and different issues that can cause that. But the maturing of the body could start deteriorating sometimes too early for what we can predict. But it's something that we need to look at. So it's not always a relationship issue. Sometimes it can be a maturing issue, a growing older issue, or a deficiency in some sort of hormones. So when these kind of problems arise, we always want to have a doctor do an evaluation. We want to take a look at hormone levels. We want to take a look at what the physical organs look like, that a gynecologist can explore the vagina and look in detail to all the parts, and that they are in the shape that they need to be, and that in the male, the same thing, it's normal. Penis, when it's erected, can have a little bit of a slant, but if it's too slanted, if there's a curvature that is, a doctor can see and can perceive if it's something that is pathological. And lastly, one of the things that could cause painful intercourse is the fact that you are simply just not prepared, and you're rushing into an act that you did not allow your body enough time for a response. Now, typically when a person is younger, because everything is right there and so up to par, it's easier for them to engage in a famous quickie or a very fast encounter and not experience pain. But not everybody has that luxury. There are seasons of life where you need more preparation, where you might actually need to add some lubrication so that there is not discomfort or a painful situation. There is solution for all of these. Again, through a sex therapist, a good clinician can determine that. Your doctor can make an assessment, but also the fact that you can have a conversation so that we can see what is creating this, so that we don't allow fear to set in, and also so that we don't hold on to that as something that is for life, and we can find proper ways to fix the problem and continue re-engaging in our sexual intimacy. It is important that you have this conversation. I hope that you have had this conversation with your spouse. If you have not, I encourage you to do so and to explain what are the things that you are going through, the frequency, and maybe even just changing a position can be a simple solution that is very close, but that because you have not spoken about it, you have not arrived to that conclusion. So that conversation is imminent, is necessary, and then seek out the right help, either a sex therapist or a medical doctor that can do a proper evaluation. You do not have to endure painful sex. The sexual experience should not be one of discomfort, and there are many ways in which we can help you overcome those and enjoy a plentiful, satisfying sexual intimacy.